it potentially possible that Russia could be the good guys? Well, in accordance to Edgar Cayce and the Edgar Cayce prophecies, Edgar Cayce says that good will come out of Russia. We're going to venture into that world of Edgar Cayce today and what Edgar Cayce did say about Russia and where good may prevail on the planet Earth. My name is Joseph Tittel, aka Spiritman JT, and I'm here to bring you love, light, truth, predictions, and prophecy. I welcome you to my channel and welcome you back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, be sure to give a subscribe down below. Click the bell followed by all and check your cellular devices to ensure that you get notifications, and double check even if you've done that already, because people mysteriously become unsubscribed from my channel. Also, be sure to give me a like down below. I love each and every one of you, so a little like would be greatly appreciated. And I thank you for your tokens of appreciation through PayPal and what you hit in the thanks button down below as well. So together, today, let us venture into the world of Edgar Cayce. Edgar Cayce was born on March 18, 1877 and passed away on January 3, 1945. Edgar Cayce was better known as the Sleeping Prophet because he would lie down on the couch, go into trance states of consciousness or hypnotic states of consciousness to communicate with the divine, with God, or with spirit, all basically the same. In turn, he would have people line up at his door because he would be able to go into a trance state of consciousness to view inside their bodies to diagnose with different illnesses and diseases. Edgar Cayce has been documented by the Edgar Cayce Institute in Maryland. Edgar Cayce Institute documents all the people that Cayce healed through his sleeping prophet trance states of consciousness, and including herbs and natural medicines that would come through for each of the people that came to see Edgar Cayce to help heal them, which again has been documented to do exactly that. Edgar Cayce today is better known as a prophet or a psychic who has made many prophecies that have already come into play. But today we're going to focus mainly on his prophecy of Russia. As we watch these geopolitical events take place that are like a train wreck leading into World War III, we can take a glimpse into Edgar Cayce's world and Edgar Cayce, the Sleeping Prophet, and what he said and the hope that he has for the planet Earth and for United States both. Edgar Cayce was one of the most revered psychics and mystics, again known as the Sleeping Prophet. Many people consider Edgar Cayce to be the founder of holistic medicine and natural medicine, due to his ability to enter into trance states of consciousness to connect with the divine and actually diagnose and bring through cures for ailing patients or clients. Edgar Cayce was remarkably insightful and accurate, which is why his name is so familiar to so many of us, alongside of Nostradamus. One of Edgar's favorite quotes that I love: "Dreams are today's answers to tomorrow's questions." Many of Edgar Cayce's psychic readings occurred in the early part of the 20th century during 2 world wars and the Great Depression. But before his death in 1945, he had already seen many of his predictions come true, including the foretelling of the stock market crash of 1929, foreseeing events related to both world wars, and even the warning of untimely deaths of 2 American presidents. In a series of what Edgar Cayce called world affairs readings, Cayce made remarkable statements about the future of world finance, world leadership, collective spirituality, and, interestingly, the role that somehow Russia was to play as a force of right in the coming global turmoil that we now currently see unfolding with our own eyes. Cayce foresaw that the world global crisis would hinge along finances. Folks, we see exactly that happening right now. We see the economy breaking down. We see the dollar beginning to fold. So is Edgar Cayce correct? Is this the time that he spoke about when Russia comes into play? Because we have that financial crisis going on the planet that's just going to get worse before it collapses completely. As I predicted a decade ago, our system will collapse. So what else did Edgar Cayce say about this financial strain crisis on the planet? Well, he pointed out that Russia would be the thorn in the side of the financial powers that were organizing themselves against humanity. That's right. Edgar Cayce saw and pointed out that Russia was being a thorn in the side of the financial powers that were trying to enslave humanity. In a post-World War II world, we are in a post-World War II world, folks, that's for sure. So this is directly, and I'm going to read this to you all directly from Edgar Cayce's file number 3976-8. Europe is a house broken up. Some years ago, there was an experience of a mighty peoples being overridden for the gratification and satisfaction of only just a few, irrespective of any other man's rights. That peoples are going through the experience of being born again, and is the thorn in the flesh to many a political and financial nation in Europe, in the world. They asked Edgar Cayce a question at this particular reading, and they asked him what was the name of the nation that you're referring to. His reply was Russia. Cayce spoke as Russia as being the hope of the world. In Russia, there comes the hope for the world. Not as that sometimes termed of the communistic or Bolshevik, no, but freedom, that each man will live for his fellow man. The principle has been born. It will take years for it to be crystallized, but out of Russia comes again hope for the world. Edgar Cayce in 1944 in his document 3976-29. Even before World War II, Cayce appears to have foreseen the need for Russia to evolve spiritually in some manner, so that it would be able to rise in opposition to the decaying moral values of the capitalist West, and to play its part as the great hope for the world. Edgar Cayce was asked, what should be the attitude of the so-called capitalist nations towards Russia? Cayce's response, on Russia's religious development will come the greater hope of the world. Then that one or group that is the closer in its relationships may fare the better in the gradual changes in the final settlement of conditions as to the rule of the world. Edgar Cayce 3976-10. 6 months later, additional information was presented, which helped to clarify Edgar Cayce's earlier prediction. Out of Russia, you see, there may come that which may be the basis of a more worldwide religious thought and trend. Edgar Cayce 3976-12. When Hugh Lynn Cayce asked about the Russian situation in June of 1938, he was told, a new understanding has and will come to a troubled people. Here, because of the yoke of oppression, because of the self-indulgences, has risen another extreme. Only when there is freedom of speech, the right to worship according to the dictates of conscience. Until these come about, still turmoils will be within. Edgar Cayce 3976-19. Essentially, Edgar Cayce appears to be referring to Russia as the trials under Soviet rule and the collapse of the Soviet Union. Putin is at best not a saint, as we know, and there is no underestimating the potential for any deception by any nationalistic organization. But in a survey of major players on the field at the moment, when the human race is sitting on the edge of a razor blade, Putin seems to appear to be bringing something to the table that other world leaders aren't wielding. Edgar Cayce also made comments about America's future moral decay. In the Final World Affairs reading given on June 22nd, 1944, less than 6 months before Edgar Cayce's death, he addressed the spirit and the sin of America. What is the spirit of America? Most individuals proudly boost freedom. Freedom of what? When we bind men's hearts and minds through various ways and manners, does it give them the freedom of speech? Freedom of worship? The freedom from what? In an application of these principles, America may boast, but rather, is that principle being forgotten? And that is the sin of America. Edgar Cayce 3976-29. Cayce also did predict the possibility of a third world war. He spoke of strifes arising in Libya and in Egypt, in Ankara and in Syria, through the straits around those areas of the Persian Gulf. So overlooking everything that Edgar Cayce spoke about and the things that he said about Russia, Europe, and so forth, it is obvious that he's correct in many, many facets of his prophecies. We can all clearly see, without a doubt, that there's something going on and we can feel it that's beyond our sight visions. Only we can tap into it intuitively, like Edgar Cayce did, like I do. And we all know that the time has come for good to prevail on the planet. So you be the judge. Leave your comments down below. I'd love to hear what you got to say. I know there's people out there that don't like Putin and people that do and whatever. It's all your own personal opinion. You have the freedom to have that. I'm just here to share this information with all of you. And again, we can take a look at controversy over the bio research labs that are in the Ukraine. We can look at the controversy of the neo-Nazis that are there and Putin going in, according to Putin himself, specifically to take out those evil doers. So is it true? If you watch mainstream news, no, it's all a lie and he's the evil man. But if you tap deeply and go back to predictions I said, that it's not all what it appears to be at all. Nothing is as it appears to be. So in order for good to prevail, unfortunately, human lives are at stake and people will die. But that's going to happen in any war, especially a war against the darkness by the light. So until the next time, my friends, again, thank you for your comments. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for giving me a like because I love each and every one of you. I deserve a little like. All y'all that hit that thanks button and send things through PayPal, I couldn't do this work without you. And I appreciate and love each and every one of you. And I will see you again in the future. I saw it in my crystal ball. So remember, as I always tell you, celebrate life, celebrate you, celebrate the amazing you that you are, can be, and will be in the future. Celebrate the amazing blessings and miracles, the flow of abundance, joy, and happiness that flow into your life each and every moment of every day. The more you do, the more you will receive. The more we bitch and complain, the more the universe will give us to bitch and complain about, so why bother? Until the next time, Spiritman JT signing off and wishing you all a beautiful rest of your day, and a namaste.